Global warming. We've all heard of it, but what is it, and what can we do to stop it? The Earth's climate is constantly changing. NASA reports that in the last 650,000 years, there have been 7 cycles of glacial advance and retreat, with the abrupt end of the last ice age about 7,000 years ago marking the beginning of the modern climate era. Could our current rise in temperatures be a natural process? According to 97% of climate scientists, the answer is no. Current temperatures are rising at a rate never seen before in recorded history. The planet has risen by a temperature of approximately 1 degree Celsius since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Whilst this might not sound like a lot, the effects of this temperature rise has led to rising sea levels, extreme weather such as wildfires and droughts, and the destruction of animal habitats. Scientific consensus confirms that it is extremely likely that this dramatic rise in temperature is mainly due to the combustion of fossil fuels. The release of greenhouse gases from these industrial processes lead to an expansion of the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is defined by National Geographic as the warming that happens when certain gases in the Earth's atmosphere trap heat. These gases let in light but keep heat from escaping. The sun emits radiation which passes through the Earth's atmosphere. Approximately 50% of this radiation is absorbed by the Earth's surface. The Earth then emits this radiation back as shorter wavelength IR radiation. Some of this passes through the atmosphere back into space, but some is absorbed by greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and re-emitted in many directions. Some of this energy can be emitted towards the surface of the Earth and absorbed, raising the temperature of the surface further. The greenhouse effect is a natural process that is necessary for maintaining the Earth's temperature. However, an increase in greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere leads to an increase in this process and an increase in the Earth's surface temperature. The main culprit is carbon dioxide. This gas is released from burning fossil fuels and deforestation. Since the start of the Industrial Revolution, carbon dioxide concentration has increased from 280 parts per million to 410 parts per million. This rise correlates perfectly with the rise in surface temperature of the Earth during this time period, and shows that CO2 emissions are having a hugely detrimental impact on the planet. So, how bad will it get? Scientists predict that in the coming century, a sea level rise of 1 to 4 feet is predicted, causing coastal displacement of entire communities, more diseases being spread due to longer summers and changing rainfall patterns, which leads to a longer breeding season for insects, including mosquitoes. Many species of animals and plants are likely to become extinct as a direct result of global warming. Some of those most at risk are polar bears, sea turtles, and coral. Perhaps the scariest predictions are that there will be more droughts and heat waves, which is likely to harm the poorest people most, such as in sub-Saharan Africa, due to an even greater lack of food and water than what is seen today. The World Health Organization published that approximately 150,000 people are dead today because of global warming, and this number may double by 2030 due to malnutrition, disease, and heat stress. So, are we truly doomed? In order to save our planet, much must be done in order to turn around the current direction we are headed. Many things have been done by governments to prevent further damage to the Earth, such as during the United Nations climate change conferences, where, for example, the Kyoto Protocol was proposed in 1997. This meant that countries committed to reducing the amount of greenhouse gases they released into the atmosphere. More recently, in 2015, the Paris Agreement, where nearly 200 countries agreed to keep global temperatures well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial revolution temperatures, and to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide emitted by industrial processes to the level that carbon dioxide can be naturally absorbed by trees, soil, and the ocean, between the years 2050 and 2100. There have also been huge scientific advancements in recent years, especially in the growth of carbon-neutral energy sources like wind and solar power. However, there is still a long way to go. Whilst reducing our CO2 emissions is vital for the future of the planet, we must also find ways of dealing with CO2 that is released into the atmosphere. Climate engineering is an umbrella term that describes ways in which the Earth's climate system can be changed to counter climate change. This includes methods of cooling the Earth's surface down and methods of storing, or better, using up CO2 instead of releasing it into the atmosphere. To conquer global warming, there must be both a huge reduction in CO2 emissions and methods of dealing with any CO2 that is created through industrial processes. In the rest of our presentation, we will explore these methods, looking at their practicality and cost-effectiveness, and looking at what the future of carbon dioxide removal looks like.